Late night conversations can pay off after all, as somebody inside the building just told me they had a productive week on the offensive line, and they may have damn well fixed some things.
You are Locked On West Virginia, your daily podcast on the West Virginia Mountaineers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, guys? Welcome back in. My name is Mountaineer Paul. I am your host. This is Locked On West Virginia, baby, where we're talking about the Mountaineers again on the football side of things. I appreciate you guys so much for being here as we dive into the content about our beloved Mountaineers on this Thursday. I meant to say this earlier in the other video, but I was just – I think I've told you guys this a couple times, but I'm still dealing with sleep apnea. I missed – my sleep study because I went to Utah, and so I need to reschedule that, but it's impacting me bad. So, anyways, this episode of Locked On West Virginia going to be brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. Right now, guys, you can bet just $5, and if your $5 bet wins, you'll get $300. This is a lot in bonus bets to use across the app. Make sure you download FanDuel, the app, today. Thanks for making Locked On West Virginia your first listen, and for being a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, where we talk about your team, the Mountaineers, every single day. I'm going to address a comment. For those of you listening on podcast, I'll read it out loud. It's from Pokemon Kid Entertainment. Paul, loved watching you. My dad thought a lot about you. And Golden Blue Dude was his favorite. Yeah, I'm sorry that both of those guys are passed away now, Pokemon. And Nelson was a good man, and I'm sorry that things went that way for you. But thank you for still supporting. All right, guys. This is an interesting scenario because, I've got some buddies on the team, like guys that I pull for, guys that I root for. I mean, they may not consider me buddies. I'm not going to say that's the two-way street necessarily. I mean, I'm 40, you know what I mean? So it's like, it's not like we're going to go hang out. But, I mean, I support them. Some of them we've done NIL deals with. We're going to talk about how, a couple of these dudes think they've got this offensive line thing fixed. And I've got some screenshots I want to read to you, specifically a message from one player that asked me to share this message to you guys. So we're going to do that. We're going to share his message for you. I was hesitant to do it because I don't want to give the other side any fuel, but this is the backyard brawl. You can't really give somebody more fuel than's already involved. You think they're going to play harder, a little bit harder now, because it's just not how it works. So we're going to do that. I got some thoughts on the game. I haven't really put out there yet. I was waiting on, I had a guy cancel on me today to do a preview. I'm struggling to, believe it or not, to get a Pitt guy in here. They just don't have a lot of podcasters. They just don't. So, I mean, I may have to bring somebody in that's ACC, knowledgeable. And if that fails, I'll bring in some other West Virginia guys and we'll just talk about the game tomorrow. So, and then we'll do the final thoughts. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and share the screenshot that I want you guys to see from a player on the team, which obviously I've cut his name out of this. I don't want to expose that, but here it is. Hey, bro, we had the best week of practice. Coach Bick is a monster at this. He'll have us ready. We've had to tune the whole fan base out this week because the outside noise has been so bad. Pitt has a good D-line, but I can guarantee you this. We're going to dominate them dudes Saturday. And I ain't say SHIT about Ohio, but we figured some SHIT out this week. And you can tell your fan base that I don't care. Come holler at me Saturday. Eat shit, Pitt. O-line is back. I said, okay, so I can go live now and talk about it. You're sure? Instantly, right? I was like, I want to talk about this. He just said, send him a message. So I'm assuming he meant send a message to you guys about it. So that's what I'm doing. I know some people will disagree with this and be skeptical. I get it. What else are they supposed to do inside the building? Roll over because they had one bad game? The first game, they played pretty well. I mean, for the most part, right? They had fumbles. They had a couple tackles for loss, but that happens in every first game with 80 new guys. Maybe a lot of this is a cohesive problem with the O-line. I don't want to, when you're not comfortable in your situation, certain things can happen on the O-line that can cause breakdowns, right? If you're not sure 100% where you're going, then of course guys are going to beat you to spots, and it's going to look like you're getting beat physically up front. This is what the conversation went a lot longer than just that, but that's all I could share because it would give away who it is. But but long story short is nobody has really felt 100% comfortable where to go as a team on the offensive line. And what that causes is uncertainty, right, as a whole. So it makes you a step slower, right? And so when you're a step slower and your enemy's playing at full speed because they've been in that system for 8 years, like Pitt, it can make things look worse than they really are. Just like Ohio, they had a bunch of continuity on their team, right? So I think what's happening is, now that we're getting into another month that they've been together working on this, they actually went against, comparable other competition besides themselves. And I think they were actually able to go back to the drawing board this week and make some real changes, because against Robert Morris, you couldn't do that. And against yourselves, you can't do that. This is the first opportunity they've had against another team that at least had comparable talent in some spots to our guys, that, because even though we lost to Ohio, we're more individually talented than them. They just were the better team. You get what I'm saying? So they were able to go back to the drawing board and say, hey, look, see, take this step together, whatever, you didn't do this. You didn't have 5 points of contact here. Right. So, you want to make sure that, I feel like we've been a little bit too hard on them, just a little bit. They've definitely underperformed, but it was in one game. And how many times, does that mean that the offensive line was bad for Pat White and company when they were only able to score 9 points in the backyard brawl in 2007? No, it doesn't mean they were bad. Now, obviously, this offensive line isn't that good. My point is, any unit can have a bad game, and any unit can have a bad game against an inferior team, just like the Michigan team against App State. Just it has happened a million times in life, and we have the best excuse for it. This team is brand freaking new. It is. It's not people are mad that you say that. It's like, I don't know what else to do. It's the truth about the situation. It's a new offensive line. All 5 starters are brand new. So God forbid they get a little better. Just a little bit of improvement means maybe you break a couple runs and just ease them off you a little bit so you can be not one-dimensional. Anyway, these guys are feeling confident going into the game. And to me, that matters as much or more than anything else. They need to be confident. They need to be, not us. It doesn't matter whether we think they're going to be good or not. If they believe it, then they can achieve it. So obviously I'm not going to embarrass him if they lose and come back at him, but if they win, I'm going to holler back at him and be like, yeah, man, you were right about that. Give him a nice punch in the arm, because that's what they need. So I feel, and Jack McNeil, if you go look at the numbers they had at Ole Miss when they were there when Rich Rod and he were there together, insane. They were insane, really. Now, they had a much better running quarterback than what we've had so far, but they weren't a really good football team, but they had a great offensive line and a great year on offense that year. So perhaps we can do something similar to where, because I think we have a good enough defense that's going to get us stops at times. There may be a game or two where this defense struggles to get stops, but I think as long as we can just keep them from being on the field all the time, they'll play well for us for the most part, especially once we get Jamori Robinson back and Chase Wilson back and especially Reed Carrico back. I think we're going to be okay. We just got to play complementary football. I think we can do it. I still think everything's out ahead of this team to potentially go to a bowl game in year one with Rich Rod. I'm definitely not saying they're going to be the best team in the league in year one, but maybe they could surprise some people, get to 7 or 8 wins still if we win this game. If you lose this game, that goes away. I think, conference play is still, excuse me, all the way out ahead of you. So there's no reason to be so skeptical. This, I just had a change in my mind today on all this. I just thought, you know what? All this gloom and doom all week, the numbers across every show that West Virginia related is down. And I'm just thinking, man, you know what this is a proponent of? This is all related to Neil Brown still in a lot of ways, because, whenever I experienced drops in views like this before, it's all been when Neil Brown was the coach and we started to lose again. It's his backyard brawl week. And the views that we're getting here this week pale in comparison to just a week ago before that. More than double less. So, and it's supposed to be brawl week. So, I'm obviously, for the channel's sake, I hope we win this week, but hopefully we just play better, to give people some hope. If we win excuse me, guys, if we win a hard-fought game 30-27 or something like that, or if we lose a hard-fought game 33-23 or 33-30 or something like that, not 23, I think we'll still have some hope after that, even if we do lose. I mean, look, it's okay to admit Pitt is in a little bit better of a place than we are as a football program right now. They're in year 7 or 8 or however many years Narduzzi's been there. They've got a lot of the same staff. They've got along with the same players. They got the same quarterback. They're basically the diet version of what we were when we beat them 3 straight times there a few years back, right? When we had Gino and everybody. It's fine. It's going to be okay, man. Not Gino, but was this might have been right before Skylar Howard came on. Either way, no, it wasn't before Skylar Howard came on. Maybe it was. I think it was Jarrett Brown and obviously Pat. I don't know. I have to go back and look. Anyway, so I just wanted to share that message. And for those of you that are just getting here, I'll share it one last time before we move on. A message from inside the O-line room says, "Hey, bro, we had the best week of practice. Coach Bick, I'm assuming that's Bicknell, is a monster at this. He'll have us ready. We had to tune the whole fan base out this week because the outside noise has been so bad. Pitt has a good D-line, but I guarantee you this, we're going to dominate them dudes Saturday, and I ain't say shit about Ohio." What he means there is last week when I asked him about going into the Ohio game, he was non-committal about it. He was like, I don't know. We're still trying to figure some things out. So, that made me feel better about this because he's like, we figured some shit out this week. You can tell your fan base that I don't care. Come holler at me after Saturday. Eat shit, Pitt. O-line is back. So, that made me happy, man. I was glad to hear that. I'm all for it. I think, even if one guy feels that way, and I'm not saying if he's a starter or backup or whatever, but sorry. Every time I take my medicine, I take this one medicine that gives me the yawns. But so I hope you guys are competent. I'm competent. I think that we got a chance to play better this week. And here's another thing too. Rich Rod's a great schemer as an offensive coordinator. And he just needs to find one set of some things that works, whether it's the perimeter run game or there's an extension of the run game through the bubble screens or the screens, like the stuff we used to do with Raynaud. Whether it's reverses in some cases, maybe. I mean, they're a little dangerous, but if you pull them off the right way, you can do that. Or even the pop pass like we did to Tavon. Remember, that's what we had to do there because we had trouble running inside when Dana was here. So there's a bunch of different ways you can get the run game involved. It's really all about, it doesn't really matter as much as if it's on first down, in my opinion, whether it's a run or a pass, as long as you get positive yards, because you just want that momentum going, right? So it'll be fun to see what happens, guys. Let's go to break, though. On the other side, I got a couple of things I want to talk to you about as well. I've got 8 thoughts on the game that I haven't shared publicly yet that I was kind of saving for when I spoke to somebody, but that's fine. We'll talk about it. We'll preview a little bit more of the game. It's all we have to talk about, right? And then we'll give you these thoughts as well. Stick around. This is Locked On West Virginia. We'll be right back. All right. This episode of Locked On West Virginia is going to be brought to you by our friends over at DoorDash. And look, DoorDash is one of those spots that they do it big all the time because if it's almost the weekend, right? Time to look back and crown this week's MVP on who delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday at DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered most. So let's break it down. For West Virginia, obviously, I picked a bunch of different players. I'm going to just future pick the offensive line for the West Virginia Mountaineers to deliver in a big way this upcoming week. I think they're going to dominate and push us over the goal line in the red zone a couple times to get us on the board when it matters most, up against it late in downs, third or fourth down, and have a breakout performance. So when the pressure's on, I think they're going to come through with no hesitation or delay. And hopefully, if you watch week after week beyond that, that performance won't be a fluke, and the offensive line for West Virginia can be on a streak. And just like the West Virginia offensive line, DoorDash delivers your Saturdays with DoorDash Streaks. You save every Saturday you order, and if you stack it all up, and just think about this, you can save up to $250 in cash, and then $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday, keep the streak alive, and fuel your game day only with DoorDash, where the terms apply. And the promo period is through 11/18. And, of course, we can't go any further without our friends over at Mazda. Look, Mazda is one of those places where they craft cars for those who do more than simply move, guys. They deliver confidence with every ride, with more IIHS top safety picks awards than anybody else as of August of 2025. You can definitely feel the Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to available Napa leather upholstery. Pretty dang cool, man. It's also an all-wheel drive standard in every crossover SUV, so you can drive with your confidence through almost any season. And just like our players, we sweat every detail because you make every move count. Impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. It's segment 2. Let's crack open this dude, guys, and we'll jump into 8 thoughts that I have on the West Virginia Mountaineers in the backyard brawl. Well, it's just 8 thoughts on the game, really. So I you could put your quarterback in here. Number 1, right? The overall chemistry with the wide receivers and the accuracy with them. What's it look like? Are they on schedule, or are balls still being thrown behind guys? Are they being thrown on time? This is going to be a really important thing to watch, because I think West Virginia is going to have to pass to win this game. You're going to have to be able to. We just don't have, at least so far, we haven't had the ability, and maybe that changes this week with what we've heard. But for those of you that's tuning in, I had a message come in that I shared with everybody about the O-line. You can go back and rewatch that here when you get time. So if that's true, you've either got to be able to run, make somebody miss against the teeth of a defense so that you can back them off, or you've got to be able to throw to back them off. There's only 2 ways to do it. You can't just keep getting stopped and then back off. That's not going to happen. So obviously the accuracy of the throws the quarterbacks are making are going to be very important no matter who's out there. So that's going to be a thing. Third down efficiency. Last week, West Virginia was 2 of 13 on third downs, man. Controlling possessions is going to be vital in this grinded out kind of game. I think it's going to be grinded out anyways. It's my gut feeling. Or maybe we were 1 of 10 versus Ohio. I can't even remember now. But obviously, we need to keep Pitt's defense on the field and not the opposite, where our defense is on the field because we're going 3 and out all the time. So, because obviously we know the Pitt offense, they thrive off of momentum and converting basically those momentum plays into shot plays, different things. basically what they call, if you listen to their press conferences, I was listening to their offensive coordinator the other day, and he was saying how 1 week, or it was either last week or the week before, they failed to realize when a sudden change happened, right? In football, you ever notice how after a fumble or a big play, an interception, coaches will take a deep shot? It's proven psychologically that, when sudden changes happen in football, a lot of times guys will take a quick like a little mental break for a play until they snap back into it. So when sudden change happens, a lot of times guys take shots. They got to have a sense of urgency about it, though, right? Like we do on every play. You go, 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 right? And they didn't. They just kind of jogged out on the field, slowed it down, took a snap. Just that's not how you want to do it. If you get a sudden change, you want to sprint the offense out onto the field, go, and then take a shot or call your best run play, a shovel pass, something to get a chunk. That's what you do on a sudden change. It's a very important part of football that not a lot of people talk about because we just haven't had the coach that talked about that openly. Dana Holgerson was a big proponent of this as well. He talked about sudden change all the time, and he's one of the best offensive minds out there. I still believe that about him. I was actually listening to his Nebraska press conference today. He's still the same old Dana, man. Clearing his throat every 10 seconds. I mean, it's just every couple seconds he's clearing that dang throat, man. It's like he's just always got phlegm, probably from all the Red Bull. So tackling is going to be massively important in this game. We know that. We hate that because of the running back on the other side. That kid is talking about Desmond Reed. He's an All-American. He is – he had 150 all-purpose yards versus Michigan, a 32-yard catch. He's fourth in the ACC for yards. He's got speed, vision. He's a nightmare in the open field. If we can't tackle him, it'll be a long day at the office. We just flat out. So I'll be interested to see how we look against him because he is that good. And unfortunately, Pitt got him. I don't know how they did, but they did. Defensive takeaways. Can they keep it up? Because I think the defense has to capitalize on turnovers. Obviously, we had 3 last game. We gave up 5 against Robert Morris, so we're still +2 in the hole on the season. But still, with all that, with losing 5 fumbles in the first game to be as close back to even as we are is a pretty good thing. I would like to get back into the negative or the plus, if you will, for our team this year. So that would be cool. And obviously, takeaways, tackling discipline. What are the impacts? This is number 4. What are the impacts of the key injuries? But like, how's this team going to look without Jaheim White? It basically cripples our run game without him right at first until we figure out another guy in there. And then Reed Carrico, who's also out, and also Jaden Bray is out, right? So those are 3 huge names that we're relying on, 3 seniors, 1 junior, 2 seniors, 1 junior, that I really, especially Carrico, I thought he was playing really well. The other 2 are obvious. But man, it's just bad timing for this team and Rich Rod and company. And, it's just not – it just makes you just want to kick the dirt. It's just like, dang, man, sucks. Obviously, this is the biggest matchup in the entire game. Pitt's defense on the run side versus West Virginia's ground game. Pitt has a top 20 nationally against the rush and can neutralize our backfield. But obviously, that's against nobodies, capital N nobodies, Central Michigan and Duquesne. We would have a top 20 rush defense against Duquesne and Central Michigan. So I don't want to hear that. We played Ohio, who is vastly better than any other MAC team we're going to face this year. You can believe that. You can mark it down. So I'm all for it, man. I think we have a chance to put a dent in that rush defense this season. Why not? We've got Power 5 players too. We just got to figure it out, man. I don't know. Maybe they put a couple extra guys in there this year, this Maybe we put a couple extra guys in there on the O-line. Maybe we go heavy packages, whatever. My mascot's here if you can't tell. But yeah, that's going to be a major factor in the game as well. Pressure on Eli Holstein. This could have been number one for me. No lie, because obviously if you look at Pitt, Jimmy Scott, Kyle Lewis are elite players, and their pressure on us is going to be a key as well. But we need to obviously, Eli Holstein's projected to have 40 rushing yards in this game. If he has 40 rushing yards in this game, that means he's probably rushed for that probably means he's gotten 5 or 6 first downs with his legs. 5 yards here for a first down, maybe 7 yards here for a first down, maybe 10 yards here for a first down. If he gets 40 or 50 yards, or maybe he ran for 5 first downs, with 10 yards at a time, whatever, but however you want to break it down. But, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it is, especially if it's like drive enders or drive extenders, right? Where you've got everything played well and he just takes off for one, and he's so difficult to tackle. And I'm just going to be honest, this is probably why I'm not in coaching, because I would probably be a dirty SOB. Like, you remember the Saints defensive coordinator from a few years back where he was like, I wouldn't do this, but he was like paying blood money, like for who they would take out of the game. I wouldn't do that, but I would tell them, like, if he takes off, make him feel it. Make him feel it. Really lay the wood to him. Don't hit him in the helmet. Don't do anything crazy like that. But if you can get a good shot on him, if he takes off, hit him as hard as you can, right in the breadbasket with the helmet if you can. Take him out if you can do it legally, just with the regular hit, obviously, not illegal. Just try to ring his bell. That's what football is. I'm trying to take you out, right? Like, not intentionally trying to injure. Definitely not advocating for that. But if you can put a lick on somebody and knock them out of the game, I find that acceptable, because it happens in every game, right? So I just want to make sure there's a distinction there. I'm not calling for him to be hurt on purpose or anything. Obviously, just hit him as hard as you're allowed to legally, and maybe you can put him out of the game. That would be a huge thing for West Virginia if you could get them to their backup quarterback. These are things that coaches probably talk about behind closed doors, but we're going to talk about it publicly here, just because it's hate week, it's Pitt week. We're talking about, and look, and Holstein's been talking about he's going to get batteries thrown at him. Little kids are going to be flipping him off. He's going to have drinks thrown at him. Like, if you're going to perpetuate that, spew that nonsense that you've only heard and not witnessed, then you're an idiot anyways, dude, in my opinion. And I mean that. Like, you don't fact check this. It hasn't happened for at least 2 decades. Has there been one person throw something at a game? I'm sure there has. But, like, it's not like it used to be where, like, like when Hulk Hogan, if you watch wrestling, whenever he turned on Macho Man when they did the NWO thing, they were getting pelted from 500-600 people were throwing stuff at them, right? Like, it hasn't been like that in Morgantown. I don't know if it ever has, but it hasn't been, to that length in a long time. So let's go to break. We'll come back and we'll kind of finish out this preview and my final thoughts. All right, guys, we're back here with Locked On West Virginia, talking about our friends over at FanDuel. Of course, we're talking about FanDuel. Why wouldn't we? They deserve it, man. When it comes to FanDuel, the NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for a kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love FanDuel because it kind of fits like however you want to bet. You like player props? Good, go that way. You like same-game parlays? Yeah, good, do that. If you ever want to jump in on the live action as it unfolds, you're like that adrenaline hit off every play, you can go do that. It's quick, it's easy, it's the best way to add a little money and energy to Saturdays and Sundays. So if you're ready to play, download the FanDuel app today by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. All right, guys, we're back here with Locked On West Virginia in segment 3. Thank you guys so much for joining in as we talk a little West Virginia football. This is going to be an amazing atmosphere. A couple other things that I wanted to talk about that impact the atmosphere in the game, because obviously, the home crowd and the intensity of this game could potentially be top 5 ever, especially if things start well for us. If things we're in the game, later into the game, and it's not a 10 or 12 point game or whatever at any point, I think, you're going to talk about a crowd that is elite. We're actually going to I think we're going to show off on TV. Absolutely come Saturday. And I am here for it, baby. It's one of those atmospheres that can fuel an upset, right? And obviously this would be the time, the day to do it. Will it erase 13-9? No. Will it make up for some of it? A little bit of it, especially for Rich Rod. Can you imagine how much pressure Rich Rod has on him this week? I thought about that today. Put yourself in Rich Rod's shoes, man. You're back. You're trying to resurrect this program. You made all these statements about this. We can win a national championship at West Virginia. And now you've hit a stumbling block early in year one, and in a spot where not a lot of people want to give you the time necessary to do this. There are a lot of people that are ready to drop the gavel now. They're ready to cut the head off now and start over one loss. So obviously that can be frustrating, because there's a lot of people that are like that. Even some early supporters I've seen are doing that. So it's like, gosh, man, I think people, if you're not a college football junkie, you probably don't know how good Ohio's actually been recently. And it probably feels a little bit like a bigger upset than it actually is to some people that wouldn't know better. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were like, we lost to an FCS team. And I'm like, no, man, what are you talking about? You watch football all the time. And how do you not know Ohio is a power, or a group of 4, or a group of 6 team? I keep forgetting how many there is now. They could play in the Sun Belt, they could play in the American, whatever. They're good enough on the field too. They may not have the biggest stadium in the world for sure. I mean, I'll give you that. But it's they've got a great history as a football program. They've got a good history as a basketball program, and they're D1 all the way. I mean, they're no different than Marshall. They're no different than Boise State. They have the same kind of access. So it's definitely, I mean, if Boise State was on their jerseys, we wouldn't even blink, right? Or, so I just think that, consider them at least the last few years on the Boise State level. That's what they've been. They won 11 games last year, 10 games the year before that, and 10 games the year before that, or whatever. And they returned everybody almost. Well, not everybody, but a lot of players on a team that won 11 games. I just think that we're overblowing our loss too much, and nobody's talking about it. All right. So anyways, what I mean with the rivalry intensity and the home crowd, sustaining drives and pace control. If we have to avoid quick 3 and outs, obviously for the sake of it, but also to keep the crowd engaged. The crowd will be our biggest help all game long. If we're in the game, that means Holstein and company are going to have to use hand signals, and they're going to have trouble getting signals in and whatnot. And it could cause some mistakes that, to be quite honest, we need them to make to be in the game probably. So let's hope some of that happens. Before we go, guys, I'm going to show you one more thing here. West Virginia announced their uniforms, and I wanted to show y'all. This clip is freaking awesome, by the way. It was holy cow, man. It gave me chills.
They don't play for trophies. They play for the dislike of each other, and there's plenty of it. The backyard brawl has turned into a mall.
That is such a cool camera thing they did there. So they took the Stedman Bailey stiff arm, and they cut in Rasheed Marshall. So what they do here, let's break this down. So obviously Stedman Bailey catches a real pass here in the game, and then they cut in Rasheed Marshall stiff arming, I guess, a helmet that had a camera inside it. I mean, that's extremely creative. Like that's like, to me, that's 10 out of 10 creativity. I was so impressed when I saw that. I don't know how many people caught it in the moment because it's like a quick video, but like that is next level creativity for our team. I got to give them their props for that. So watch it in full now that you know the whole kind of story here.
Oh!
So cool.
Touchdown! Marshall takes the
And here he is. This is him on the field throwing passes right here.
snap. Fires the ball deep downfield for Pennington. There's contact.
And they cut it to a West Virginia player catching it, man. You can't. Oh man, I was so happy.
Pass is called in and is caught. Touchdown!
Then you've got, obviously, Noel running away during a pick game, which is awesome. And they cut to Rasheed running away at the very end doing the same thing. But I mean, look at the jerseys, guys. It's the perfect jerseys, man. It's the yellow bottoms with the blue jerseys and the yellow stripes and the yellow the glossy blue helmets. I freaking love these jerseys, man. I love these jerseys. They look so good. So I'm really excited about it. And for those of you listening on podcasts, it's the glossy blue helmets with the flying WV. Is the gold and blue jersey with flying WVs on each shoulder with the Mountaineer over top of the numbers. And then you've got the gold pants, and you've got what kind of looks like leggings, but it's just really long socks that come up and meet the gold pants about knee high, which is kind of a fashion choice you see from a lot of the players these days. These are really sharp uniforms, man. They look so darn good.
Virginia's Noel Devine, an 88-yard score.
Awesome job. So somebody put the SpongeBob meme. Oh God, I might use a SpongeBob meme on one of my thumbnails here going forward. Would you guys laugh at that? Can I just say one more thing before we go? I know you guys are kind of going out, but I just want to say I'm very grateful for sports. That we have sports to escape from all this that's going on in the country and in our world right now. So thank you guys for allowing me to do this and be a part of it. It truly means a lot. So, I just wanted to say that. So hopefully you guys are having a great time this week preparing for the Brawl. I can't wait to talk about it again Saturday, but we got discussions tomorrow where we're going to try to do some game previews. Hopefully we can get Alex Dono or somebody to come on from Locked On ACC. We'll figure it out. Until then, guys, have a great and blessed rest of your day. And remember this, it's another big moment for Locked On college football fans. Locked On and Fire TV present College Football Kickoff, which is your ultimate college football weekly preview, with Drake Toll of Locked On Big 12 leading the conversation alongside two-time AP Coach of the Year Gary Patterson, and also with former college star Jesse Holley, and of course our local experts, which is a college football preview show only Locked On can do. Make sure you catch the College Football Kickoff every Thursday throughout the season, and that's only on Fire TV. Good night, guys. Have a blessed rest of your day. I love you. I'll see you tomorrow.